Hi everybody, it's Caitlin. I wanted to share um, with you the story of my gastritis diagnosis. I was 16 years old when my stomach problems started, and I was diagnosed with acid reflux disease at age 16. And my doctor at the time, um, I'll get to that part later. But I was diagnosed with acid reflux disease at the age of 16. And I'm just telling you about the treatment options because this is part of my story, because this was part of the story. So I was put on Pepsid, and then I was put on Prevacid, and then I was put on Protonics. And the Protonics was what worked. So, I went on as usual. And then I remember when I was in high school, my stomach issues started making it difficult for me to have lunch. And I always had somebody ask a teacher if I could go to the nurse or something, because I would get a little embarrassed to walk up to a teacher and say, "Could I please go to the nurse? I think I have a stomach ache." I just felt a little embarrassed. Um, so after that, um, skipping ahead to when I was 21 years old. Okay, I was 21 years old, and we ruled a few things out, like if I had celiac disease or something like that, which that all came out negative. And we did the gastric emptying study, and that's where they put the dye in your food in order to take the x-ray of your stomach to make sure your stomach can digest food okay, which that came out fine. And then after that, they did the gastrointestinal series, and that's the test that led to the diagnosis of moderate to severe gastritis. We went into a room that had like what looks like the table you would lay on for an x-ray, let's say. And they had the machine there, and they made me drink strawberry flavored barium. And you couldn't drink it slowly like you drink a soda or something. I had to drink it quickly. And that right there made me nauseous because I had to drink it real fast. And when the nurse told me that I needed to drink it through a straw, I drank a little bit through a straw. And then the nurse asked me if I could drink a little more, but I couldn't because I was starting to get nauseous. And I told the nurse, "I'm sorry, but I can't do it. I can't drink anymore because I'm starting to not feel good." So the nurse put a washcloth on my forehead with lukewarm water to help, relax me a little bit. Anyway, and we were able to get the test done without a problem. And the nurse said it was a good thing that I didn't get sick, because if I had gotten sick, we would have had to do the test over with. And I pretty much just told the nurse, if I got sick and we had to do the test over again, I would have just had to say, "I'm sorry, but I can't do it." And luckily, things went off without a problem there. And later on that day, we got the results. I was diagnosed with moderate to severe gastritis, but luckily, it wasn't a severe case of it. Like, there weren't any ulcers. There weren't any ulcers or anything. There was just the swelling of the stomach lining. So I feel I was very fortunate because it kind of felt like it was caught early. So I felt very fortunate there. So I spoke to my former primary care provider, and he told me that it's possible that I could have had moderate to severe gastritis that whole time and didn't even know it. And that honestly made me nervous because it had me wondering, what if they had found it earlier? You know? But everything still worked out. So here I am now, explaining my story. And I want my channel to be a safe space for people that are handicapped to be able to come together. If you found this video informative, please like, comment, and subscribe. And also, before I forget, before the upper intestinal series, I was leaving VCAP one day, and I was feeling very nauseous, and my rehab specialist had to help me to her car because I just felt so ill that I just couldn't take another step. I was worried that if I took another step, I was worried that I would have gotten sick on the sidewalk. So my rehab specialist literally had to help me get to her car because I just felt so sick. So, and then after that, we had the upper GI series done, and it led to the diagnosis of moderate to severe gastritis. And there's no ulcers, thankfully, so I feel very lucky. So my advice is this: be your own advocate. Sometimes you just got to keep going until you find the answer. Just remember this: it's something that I have heard occasionally. It's a saying that I've heard occasionally, but just remember this: when you hear hoofbeats, we think horses, not zebras. And the moderate to severe gastritis was a zebra. But everything worked out okay in the end. But just remember, be your own advocate. Get a second opinion. Keep going until you find the answer, because your body will tell you. Thank you for listening.